The shape of quality, the Volkswagen. Its basic shape has remained unchanged since the very first VW. The ideal has been to improve and perfect, rather than to change just for the sake of appearance. Every part of a VW is laboratory tested for quality and reliability. Wheels and brake hoses are tested for strength. Thousands of ball bearings test the resistance to abrasion of VW's baked enamel surface. The very microstructure and grain size in the metal of the car's components are scientifically examined. Before being accepted for production, parts are also critically checked for quality of finish and dimensional accuracy. These are parts not manufactured by Volkswagen, but by outside suppliers. Over 1,500 Australian suppliers who manufacture £10 million worth of parts for the company every year. The same critical inspection applies to all parts manufactured by the company itself. Right throughout the production process, Volkswagen seek perfection through inspection. The company has its own staff of skilled pattern makers and tool makers to make and maintain dies. The modern tool shop machines grind, cut, turn, and mill to the most minute degree of accuracy. Constant maintenance ensures that dies are absolutely flawless. All dies must pass a critical inspection before being installed in any of the 30 presses in the £5 million press shop where the production of the VW commences. Eighteen massive presses use 400 large dies to shape quality Australian steel into body panels. (1,000 small dies stamp out fittings and accessories. In all, the press shop manufactures 1,100 individual components. Six large presses were made in Australia. They are capable of exerting pressures of up to 1,800 tons. The largest panel press is the roof. A system of 8 gigantic presses with linking conveyors mold, cut, stamp and strengthen it. The finished panels each undergo a careful inspection. Before commencing a pressing run, panels are pressed to be checked and approved on the master Volkswagen gauge. Sample panels are checked throughout the run. The gauge is one of only 3 in the world. The most minute dimensions can be measured on it within minutes. Approved panels are passed from the press shop onto a system of overhead conveyors. The conveyors carry up to 6 weeks' supply of parts, and they wind 1.5 miles throughout the factory roof and down to the sub-assembly area. Here they are built into main body sections. Finishing prepares the sections for joining together on the jigs to be fused into the first body form. The steel now has a personality. It is given a number, and in 23 hours or 3 working days, it will be driven off the assembly line of Volkswagen. The basic shape must pass an inspection of 51 points on the body gauge. Doors, lids and mudguards are now fitted, and the shell receives final welding for reinforcement. Buffing gives the metal a perfectly smooth finish. An extremely careful and detailed inspection is carried out before each shell is declared ready for painting. At the same time as this body shell is constructed, its chassis is too. The chassis is constructed on a merry-go-round type of conveyor with 14 assembly positions. The chassis begins with an immensely strong and rigid spine, to which is added the rear torsion bar housing. The spine houses and completely protects all the car's control cables. With the floor panels added, the chassis presents a flat underside. Later, when joined to the body, the chassis will form an impenetrable seal. Prior to painting, the chassis and the bodies are cleaned by a hot spray. They then travel through a bonderizing spray which protects the metal surfaces against rust and prepares it for enameling. The first of the 4 coats of paint is applied by the most thorough process used in the Australian automotive industry. Every VW body is entirely immersed in 7,000 gallons of black paint, which completely covers all metal surfaces, places where no spray gun could reach. After baking, the bodies are rubbed down. Then the second coat is applied, the grey primer. The undercoated bodies are baked again, then wet rubbed and hand detailed in readiness for the third coat, the cream filler. Every care is taken to ensure that the body surface is perfectly smooth. The cream-painted bodies are baked and rubbed down. Then the 4th and final coat is applied. The final enamel coat is baked in controlled high-temperature ovens. Diamond hard, diamond bright, the baked enamel finish undergoes a critical scrutiny. If the smallest flaw is found, the body is completely repainted. The bodies are carried from the paint shop by overhead conveyor to the trim line. Here, the empty, painted metal shell receives its trim and trappings, chromework and lights, instruments, insulation, and inspection. The VW's basic shape has remained constant. It's additions like these that have been changed, improved. Experience being the best teacher, Volkswagen have become skilled at building in quality. Inspection, both along and at the end of the line, ensures that all components are correctly installed. When approved, the body is complete, ready to join the rest of the car. The VW engine assembly is completed here with top-quality Australian-made components. An expansion program is underway to enable the entire engine to be manufactured in Australia. The assembled engines are conveyed to the chassis line, where the major mechanical components are fitted to the chassis. The front axle, the gearbox, the unique torsion bar suspension system. Inspectors carefully check that parts are fitted to exact requirements. Spread along the line where the chassis and body will join is a sealing compound, a seal for proofing against water and dust. bodies descend automatically to join with the chassis, everything in exact position. Guide pegs are removed and 36 bolts are used to lock the two units together. Now VWs are driven off the assembly line to the testing area. The engine and transmission are checked as the car is driven through all gears on rollers connected to a test speedo. Suspension is checked. A system of mirrors allows the driver to check controls and lights. Brakes are tested. Wheel nuts are tested for correct tightness. An extremely accurate optical tester is used for wheel alignment. When the VW has passed all 83 mechanical checks, it is then driven to the final line where seats and floor mats are added. Here it receives the most critical visual inspection. Every part is rechecked. For a VW to receive the final OK, over 400 parts have to have been inspected and approved. "120 people are employed solely to inspect the VW throughout its manufacture. The VW's beetle shape has become a familiar sight on Australian roads. So too have the other Volkswagen vehicles, the 1500 sedan and station wagon. And the range of Volkswagen commercials. Over 200,000 VWs have been sold in Australia since local assembly began in 1954. More than 150 VWs are manufactured every day at the Clayton plant of Volkswagen Australasia Limited. Rail and road transport is used to distribute them throughout Australia. As well, VWs are exported to countries in the South Pacific and Southeast Asian area. Volkswagen is a £14 million investment in Australian industry. Its tradition of quality is upheld by 2,500 employees. A £20 million expansion program is already underway. This will double the number of employees and bring the Australian content of the VW to as high as 95%. The VW will look the same then as it does now, because the shape is not a shape of fashion, but the shape of quality.